Kaitlyn Aldrich, City Manager of Ludington. Thanks for being on the air with us this morning. And for our listeners, I'll preface this as I know your voice is a bit of a struggle this morning because of just being under the weather, but we're glad that you're feeling a bit better today.
Good morning, me too. And I wish it was under the weather because I watched and cheered for a Super Bowl team, but unfortunately, I am not a part of that Monday morning crowd today.
Oh, so you were a Patriots fan for the game, is that right or no?
No, no, none of my teams
Oh,
participated in the Super Bowl this year, but that's okay.
yeah, that makes sense. Absolutely. Well, there's always next year for sure, and next season. But it was definitely an interesting game, and obviously social media blowing up this morning with conversation about from commercials to people that were streaking across the field. That happened to even a lot of locals. We had a head official from Ferris State in Big Rapids there that was part of the officiating crew, and a player down in the Muskegon area. It's kind of neat to see some of those Michigan ties when you see a big game like that on TV, isn't it?
It is. And did you know that they were also Mason County ties in the
Yeah.
Super Bowl commercials? There was a West Shore Community College ad,
Hmm.
and Scott Ward and Mitch Foster were both in the commercial. I'm sure there was a few other locals in that commercial that I haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. But it's pretty cool, all the way within those Super Bowl ad commercials. Very neat opportunity.
There you go. Very cool. Now that we're back on a Monday morning and we're recovering after wings and dip and all of that cool stuff, we've got city council meeting tonight, and there's a few things on the agenda there. But there's also some other things that you want to cover this morning as we connect every few weeks here on the radio, both on air and online. And so why don't we jump right into that? What's on your agenda before we get to tonight's city agenda?
Yeah, so I have some things that I would really like to share with the community. We have a busy year ahead of us at City Hall. I think the most important thing that affects city residents is starting today. Applications are open for the November election,
Mhm.
and the open seats that we have are for second, fourth, and sixth ward city councilors. That would be Counselor Winchesky, Counselor Stibbets, and Counselor Bulger's seats, as well as the mayor's seat, are all up for re-election in November. Applications are open today, and your application is due no later than April 21st.
And we know that the mayor is not seeking reelection. He's confirmed that. What about the other city council members that you just mentioned?
Um, Counselor Winchesky is on her third term, so she will have been termed out at the end of 2026. Is not eligible to run again as a city councilor. And Counselor Stibbets and Counselor Bulger have not indicated if they are going to run again. However, they both are eligible.
Okay.
So I am not sure for those two seats, but they are available for anyone to run for.
And when
So
do
in 2027, we could have a very different looking city council.
Absolutely.
So if you're interested in getting involved, please come in and talk to Debbie Luskin, our city clerk. You're welcome to set up an appointment with the mayor, Mark Barnett. You're welcome to come in and talk to me. We would love to sit down and have a conversation and just help you get a better understanding of what a city council does and how you can participate more in your community.
It's great to hear. And going back to and you want the city, you want citizens to step up and say, "Hey, I'd like to be on city council," and that does happen, obviously, from time to time. Sometimes it does go unopposed, some of the seats, but that's one of the ways that you can see things change in the city council, in the city of Ludington. The two counselors, when do they have to declare by? Do you know that date? Because some people are going to want, oh, am I going to be running against this person, or is that going to be unopposed? Do you know when they have to declare by?
Um, unless Clerk Luskin knows something that I do not, they also have the same April 21st deadline.
Okay. If you had to kind of step out of your shoes, well, let's actually take both angles, if you don't mind, from a city manager standpoint, and from maybe just, a newer citizen of Ludington, or just somebody that's not the city manager. What do you think ideal candidates would look like? Obviously, you don't want to put your thumb on, who you're looking for, but what does it take to be a city council member, or somebody to run for those seats?
That's a great question. Um, Someone who has time, not a lot of, you don't need a lot of time, but you need dedicated time. The time that you can give, you've got to give it all, right? Someone that is forward thinking. Our community, every community in the country, in the world, is going to change, but we have to control that change. We have to make sure that our community is going to change how we want to see it change.
Mhm.
So being proactive, being actively a part of that change, having your voice heard, being willing to listen, being willing to pause, and really just being able to digest that feedback, and just, like I said, being a listening ear and speaking for others when they are not really willing to speak up freely. Um, Being active, being open, being out there in the community, um, hearing all age groups. Ludington is pretty mixed, 50-50. Um, there's a significant portion of our population that's 65 and older. And then it's like the other half is 38 and younger. So really being able to hear and take feedback from both of those age groups and provide services and amenities to meet their needs. Um, it's it's a thankless job. It's
Mhm.
an imperfect job. We cannot do it all. But we do have to listen and really make sure that that we're doing the best that we can.
Yeah, absolutely. Good information there.
Mhm.
If you're just joining us, we're talking with Kaitlyn Aldrich. And whoops, there we go. Sorry, my connection dropped out for just a second there. Let's talk about the um, yeah, just for a moment, because people are going to ask, and maybe he's addressed this already, but the mayor of Ludington, Mark Burnett, has decided to not run for reelection. Was that politically motivated? Was it personal? Was it other issues or reasons? Do you mind? And if you can share with us this morning.
I really wish that I had his letter pulled up in front of me, because I won't do the mayor any justice by trying to quote it from memory. Um, Mayor Barnett has served in local government, just public service in general, for almost 50 years.
Mm.
From the time he was a late teen, he has done public service. He's never taken a break. Um, his time, um, what he would like to do with his life now is dedicate that to his family.
Mm.
He is very blessed that his kids have relocated back to the area, and he would like to spend his time with his family. It's not politically motivated. It is very central to his family.
A-
Um,
And that's
and
important. There's
yes,
a
it really is important, and it's very much deserved. I believe that letter was incorporated into the public packet from the first meeting in January.
Mhm.
So for those of you who would like to read it, you can go online and pull up the city council packet and find that letter in those documents.
Yeah, good information there. What happens now? The election is it a November election this year?
Yes.
Okay. Tell us about candidates. Has there been interest? Is there a window of time for that as well? What's that look like and shape out to be?
Same window of time. Applications can be picked up starting today. They are due April 21st. And the election will be in November. I have not heard anybody officially running. That doesn't mean anything. I am new to Mason County. I've been here a year and a half. I'm sure there are much more well-connected individuals here and may know more than I do, but technically no one has formally been able to submit an application until today.
Okay. And for those that are wondering, the city of Ludington kind of charter or it's set up more of that you are the head of the city, supported by the council, obviously. But the mayor's role, if you had to rank like, three of those primary roles, one being kind of that, ceremonial figure, I would assume. But what other roles do you see that a potential new mayor would fill for Mayor Barnett's shoes?
Ceremonial, yes. Guides and directs city council
Hmm.
and helps set policy.
Okay, good information.
The city manager handles the day-to-day administration and manages city staff.
Hmm.
And the city manager is responsible for managing the policy that the city council sets.
Hmm.
So there's a very distinct difference
Yeah.
between the two bodies, I guess. The city council, the only two positions that they appoint are the fire chief and the city manager. The city manager is responsible for hiring and firing the rest of staff.
Okay. And from the mayor's standpoint, well, I'll just ask you this question: is without Mayor Mark Barnett or a mayor in general, there would be a lot of maybe overload in regards to responsibilities for you and for others around that office.
Yes. Yes, the division of duties is there for a reason, and it is very helpful and keeps the politics away from the day-to-day administration of the city. Our job as staff from my position down is to provide services, essential services, state of Michigan required services to the residents. We need that buffer in
Mhm.
order to do our jobs.
I've never heard it like that, but you're right. It's good. It's good for you to explain it that way rather than, hey, we've got a mayor and this is what he does. No, there is some separation that's needed, or as you mentioned, some buffering. I think it's a good point. If you are just joining us, we're talking with Kaitlyn Aldrich, City Manager of Ludington. As we connect, we've got City Council meeting tonight at 6 p.m. at City Hall. We started the segment that you have some things that you would like to share with the community. Let's talk about a few more of those.
Sure, thank you. So another item on one of the ballots. So we've talked about city council change for what city council could look like in 2027. That is November ballot. We have three elections this year: May, August, November. this year in August, we are looking at a charter amendment on the August ballot. For the last few years, the city has tried to include in the budget a finance director position. Debbie Luskin is our city clerk and has been with us for 20 years. I believe she was elected for the first time as city clerk in 2004. Debbie, long overdue, is retiring and will not be seeking re-election in 2027. Debbie puts in 80 plus hours a week. Wow. She works 7 days a week. She works at minimum 11, 12 plus hour days. It is beyond commitment. The city clerk here in Ludington is elected, not appointed. And the way our charter is written, they are not only responsible for elections like all clerks are, they are also responsible and are considered the accountant of the city, which is very rare. Usually those duties are given to a treasurer or a finance director.
Okay.
And that makes the position very complex, and just a ton of time. And the city, with our size, with enterprise funds, and enterprise funds meaning the marinas, Cartier Park, the wastewater treatment plant, the water treatment plant, our motor pool, which handles our heavy equipment, our whole fleet, snow plows, all of the trucks that our staff drives day to day. All of that has to be handled by our finance director, which comes down to the clerk. Debbie works 2 full positions.
Wow. Yeah.
And as an elected position, she feels that it's her responsibility to just handle it. We can't expect another elected individual to take that on. It's not realistic. So we are looking at asking for a charter amendment, which will allow us to separate those duties.
Okay.
To create a separate finance director position. Yes, it will impact our budget. We don't see another way around it. It's not healthy. It's not sustainable. It certainly doesn't fall under the Fair Labor Standards Act. We could do it without a charter amendment. It gets very messy. The clerk, whoever the next clerk is, would have to appoint a deputy clerk. Oh,
I'm with you.
You are?
Yep. Well, it froze there for
a second.
Dark on
my phone. My apologies.
It's okay.
We could appoint a deputy clerk.
Okay.
And that deputy clerk could then take on the role of a finance director. That isn't ideal, because it makes things a little bit complicated if down the road the clerk and the deputy clerk have disagreements. And now you have a clerk still with all of the responsibility, because the deputy clerk and the clerk disagree, and now you still have one position with all of the responsibility.
When
So
you
we
talk
would like,
about,
we would like to clean up that language in the charter to create a finance director position. That would be the permanent solution to the problem. And regardless of how we do it, it creates a new full-time position.
Okay. Requires the public to vote on that?
Yes.
Okay. And so you're asking them ultimately, because you had mentioned just a few moments ago, you're looking for that's going to impact the budget. That's what you had mentioned a couple moments ago. Is that something that should be concerning to them? Is that input that you'll provide as we get closer? What do you expect the voters to understand? Obviously, outside of the 80 plus working hours, of course, and that second part about appointing, which again, that when you have elected officials and you appoint somebody, then there is down the road elections that happen too, and that could be muddied water as well. What do you want the citizens of Ludington to understand at this point? And obviously, you'll explain to them further on as we get closer to that midterm.
That it is very unusual for a city to have an elected clerk and treasurer. Those are usually appointed positions. They
Okay.
are appointed because you have to make sure that you have skilled, licensed, qualified people in those positions.
Okay. Okay.
Number one, this ensures that the finance director has the skills, education, certificates to do the work. We are beyond lucky, blessed, all of the above, that Debbie is a licensed CPA. The next election, there's no guarantees who that person may be. We don't want to be in a position where other communities are on state-driven correction plans because we haven't followed the state chart of accounts, or we're running into financial issues, accounting issues, because the person in that position isn't doing what they're supposed to be doing. I can't do the work because the charter says I'm not allowed to. So I'm not allowed to touch that. I have no control per our city charter. There's nobody else that's allowed to do it. We have to follow the city charter, which currently says the clerk is the accountant for the city. We are big enough. The responsibilities are big enough. It's just too much work for one person. It's been too much work for one person for years. And we, as taxpayers, we have just got darn lucky that someone is willing to do it 12 plus hours a day, 7 days a week. It is no longer feasible. And so what the public should expect is a significant amount of information coming from the city through social media, through the mail, through city council, through the mayor over the next several months as we talk about this and prepare a charter amendment for the August ballot. If the charter amendment fails, like I said, we have other ways we can do it. It's just not as clean. And there are ways that it could backfire internally. Like I said, if there are issues between a clerk and a deputy clerk down the road and the clerk wanted to take back those duties, then we have a deputy clerk who's serving as the finance director with nothing to do because the clerk has taken back those accounting duties. And now we're paying someone to be a finance director and they have nothing to do. So mathematically, that doesn't make any sense. It makes the most sense to clean up our charter and have it serve the residents and the city to the best of its abilities.
And I guess my last question on this topic, obviously you've thought about this, or maybe you're prevented from doing this, is an outside firm contracting this out, so and so forth. Is that an option?
It is a temporary option. Number one, if the clerk is okay with it, because remember, the clerk is the accountant of the city, not me. So the clerk would have to be okay with it. And then financing out to a professional governmental accountant service is incredibly expensive.
Okay.
You're talking $15,000 a month for a city our size.
Wow. Okay.
So very cost prohibitive. And they'll only do so much. So there'll still be a small portion that we'll likely have to retain. It would be great to have our own staff member that's doing that work. So, I just want to put that on people's radar so they know that it's coming. They know what we're talking about. They can start asking questions now. Again, we're not going to make that ask until the August ballot, but I just wanted to take this opportunity to start putting that out there. It is talked about a little bit in my budget narrative from December. But again, having this platform is really helpful.
Absolutely. All right. Sounds good. Let's do this. And I know we're going to talk about that particular subject before August, a couple more times for sure. Let's switch gears. We have a graphic that we want to put up. That'll let you adjust your phone. I know you want to instead of holding your phone, it looks like you might have to be holding your phone. You can go ahead and set it and make sure that it's good. For our viewers, though, we have the Senior Center. They have, and let me take off our captions for a second so that they can see that if you're watching online. Is that the Valentine's party is coming up on the 13th. So this week for the Senior Center. Why don't you talk us through that a little bit, if you don't mind?
Sure, thank you. At the Ludington Senior Center on Friday, February 13th, they are having a Valentine's Day party. You do have to register by the end of today. It's $7 per person, and they are doing, I believe, a lunch at noon, if I remember.
Okay. Yep.
At 1:00. I'm sorry.
Okay.
And you get lunch and dessert, and they'll have live music and a photo booth. And if you would like to come and join the festivities, there is a number where you can call and RSVP.
All right. That's 231-845-6841. And we'll put that flyer in the comment section of our Facebook pages, our live videos there as well. So good information and the Senior Center is a big part of the community, as you can imagine. I know they are trying to do as many events as possible for the community, and they continue to be very active. And especially when we get snow days, we hear from the Senior Center. But when we see their emails come over with the calendar that's completely full for those here in the community, that's a pretty cool event, a plan for the seniors. So I would assume that you're very happy with the Senior Center on what they're providing to the community.
Yes, Andrea, the manager over there, does an excellent job keeping the Senior Center very busy and offering a wide variety of options, not just at the Senior Center, but different opportunities for the seniors to travel, both in the state and out of the state, to give them just all sorts of recreational opportunities.
Let's reset for a second for those that are just joining us right here in the 9 o'clock hour on Mom FM and Hot Country Hits 99.9. And I know you're connected via your cell phone. Sometimes we're not connected via. It's difficult to connect via the city computers. So we appreciate your patience and everybody else's out there. You had some additional items on your agenda. Do you have more of those that you want to talk about this morning?
Yes, I can try to get through them a little bit quicker.
Oh, sorry.
An announcement from our Department of Public Works is that this week, with a little bit of a break in the weather, they will be starting to address the large snow piles in the parking lots around town. So hopefully you'll see some loaders and some dump trucks around trying to knock those down. They will also be doing some tree removals of dead trees, tree limbs, or obstructive trees in the right of way. If those trees are marked yellow, the city will be addressing them. If there are trees in the right of way that are marked blue, they will be addressed by Consumers Energy. Okay. If they have a blue dot, they are only going to be trimmed by consumers. If they have a blue X, they are going to be removed by consumers. Okay. So I just wanted to make that distinction. Mm-hmm. We've received several questions or comments over the last few months about how individuals can receive some of the grant money to replace their lead service lines that the city got from the state. I just wanted to clarify that the city did receive $600,000 from the state for lead service lines. It is not to replace lead services. The $600,000 was to allow the city to hire a contractor to find and identify lead services. That's it. We did not receive a penny for construction or replacement. We are still, while we are funding the reconstruction of lead services. Hey, Chris, I unfortunately am having more connection problems and I'm going to have to switch to my computer.
Okay. Well, we've got you connected pretty
All
well.
right.
But go ahead and do
Let
that.
me see if I can jump on.
Okay. And we'll let Kaitlyn do that for a second. And Hudson's around here. So where's Hudson? For a second. He's somewhere. You can see his toys back there. We'll bring Kaitlyn back in just a second. I think there she is right there. And there we go. Split screen here.
Okay.
And for those that are viewing and listening, obviously with city services, sometimes there's firewalls and restrictions there that can have issues there. But we'll try as best to keep you connected and all that good stuff. Let's kind of digest into that for one more moment. You received $600,000 from the state of Michigan in this grant, and which is a lot. It sounds like for a consultant to find lead. You said lead pipes, basically issues that are out there. That's where I think maybe the community might be concerned a little bit, or I mean, break down some of those costs if you don't mind. And I'm not talking about line by line, but just give us a general idea of that.
Of course. So, I mean, several homes, most of the homes in Ludington their lead services are as old as 1900, 1880, 1900. We don't have records of when those services were put in by homeowners. Those paper documents don't exist anymore. So the city has hired a contractor to open holes in the road and to go down under the ground and look to see if it's a lead connection or not. Then they also have to go into the home in the basement or the crawl space and see if it's lead or not. So that costs money, $500 to $1,000 at each home just to see if it's lead or not. We have to do that at all of the homes that are unknown. Well, there's a couple thousand homes we don't know if it's lead or not. So that's called exploratory work. So we have a contractor doing the exploratory work, documenting it all, and submitting the documentation to the state. That's what the $600,000 is for.
Do you have any idea how many?
Say that again.
How many homes do you think that this is going to be affected by? Do you have any idea there?
I'm so sorry that I am guessing, but I thought it was around 1,500 that were unknown.
Okay.
The city, how we're funding. So the state 5 or 6 years ago, after the Flint water crisis, mandated all communities in the state of Michigan that provided water to their customers to replace all private lead lines from the city's water main to people's homes. Those are private lead lines. They're owned by either the resident or the business owner, to replace those one time. We have to replace them, but it's an unfunded state mandate, meaning the state's requiring us to replace it, but they're not giving us a penny to do it. So the only way the city can replace those is by indirectly adding that cost to city water bills. So every year for the last 5 or 6 years, water bills have gone up 5 or 7.5%. and the city has invested $500,000 a year. And this is the first year we're investing $600,000 a year into lead service lines replacements. And I just wanted to put that out there because we've had some residents and some business owners want some of that grant money because they've either chosen to replace their grant line on their own, or they've had to replace their lead line because they've had flow issues or corrosion issues. There's not any grant money. It's coming out of water bills that folks pay quarterly. That's how we're refunding all the replacement. I know it's not perfect. I know it's controversial and frustrating. I just wanted to clarify that because the whole state mandate is frustrating and confusing. Ultimately, it's great that we're getting rid of all of the lead, but just the way communities have to go about it is imperfect.
And just for clarification, the $600,000 grant and the reference a few moments ago about increasing the water line replacement at 600,000, that's two separate funds, right? One for the grant for the study and 600,000 for the investment in the lines.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
And that
All right.
600,000 a year that the water rates are funding for replacing and constructing the new water lines, we will have that built into our water rates for 15 more years. It'll take us until 2040 to replace all of the lead lines in the city. I mean, it is a long 20-year plan. It's a lot. It is a big lift. It is a big
And I
lift
know
here.
we've had the conversation about lead lines in the past, and somebody's going to wonder, okay, it's going to take 15 years to potentially replace that home, my homes, so on and so forth. But that's where the waterworks comes into play. That's where the water facility continues to test the water and ensure that it's it's good for drinking and bathing and everything else.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
So that was another thing that I wanted to talk about. I have, I think, just one more thing, and then we can jump into the packet tonight. The last thing I want to talk about, and I know I've mentioned it a couple of times here, I talked about it when we adopted our budget in December, and that is the city's financial situation the last 5 years or so and our projections. The public is going to start getting some messaging, infographics online, in the mail, through the newspaper, through resources like you, about how we have to diversify our revenue streams. If you haven't heard yet, the city has been in a deficit for the last few years, meaning we have been spending our fund balance, otherwise, or also known as kind of our savings account, the last few years to balance our budget. I'm not talking about balancing our budget to pay for a nice, cool project that we could go without. I'm talking about balancing our budget so we can continue to replace sidewalks that we have to replace. I'm talking about balancing our budget to continue to provide basic services. We're really not funding capital projects. Obviously, if we're spending our savings, we're not adding to our savings. We're cutting into it every year. This year, our fund balance or our savings policy is that we always have 25% of our annual expenditures in the bank. This year, after our expenses for the year, that will drop to 24%. Isn't too bad. But next year, after our projected budget, it will drop to about 17%, which is a violation of our fund balance policy. The following year in 2028, it drops to about 9%. Our current financial forecast that in 2031, the city runs out of money. Obviously, if that happens, the state of Michigan will come in and take over the city. We will no longer have a decision on how the city is run. The state of Michigan will run the city until we are in a better financial position. We're not going to let that happen.
Okay.
So what our plan is for the next several months is to educate our community on the services we have to provide, on how we are going to address our financial revenues, how we are going to get more creative on the expense side of things, and really just engage the community and have some great conversations so we can turn 2027 around. So please be involved. Please communicate, show up to council meetings, send me emails, send your counselors communication, show up in person. Any ways that you can participate in the conversation is welcomed. We are far from being in an irreversible place, but we do have to diversify how we bring in money, how we spend our money. We just have to. We cannot continue the way that we currently operate. And that's what we would like to start sharing with everyone, so the city of Ludington can continue thriving and we can start reinvesting in our capital, our parks, our streets, our sidewalks, and the city of Ludington residents can really start to enjoy and see a return on the investment that they spend here.
Two questions come to mind as you're informing the public in regards to this. The first is, was there writing on the wall in the past, or was there, something that happened that made this, path the current path? Would be, I guess, my first question.
So I've only been the city manager for almost a year and a half, so I cannot be in the brains of the previous city managers. The mindset, from what I've heard, is that money has always been tight. So I don't believe that this is anything new. I think that it's just something I inherited, right? That I inherited a couple years of operating in a deficit, and the trajectory I'm looking at, that the city is looking at, continues to be a deficit. So we're just in a place now where we cannot just continue to operate the way that we are. The city we have a lot of opportunities to change how we do things, which is great. There are some communities who don't have a choice but to let the state take over, who don't have a choice but to ask for a Headley override, which is asking the community to raise the millage rate on their taxes. Thankfully, we're not there yet. And I'm glad that that's not what we necessarily have to do at this moment. It's still not going to be a pretty conversation, right? Because the finances have to come from somewhere. But we'll get there. We have an incredible town. We have brilliant people here, creative people here, and I'm very positive about what tomorrow and next year and the next 10 years look like.
And I'm not sure if you know the answer to the second question that I have, which is, compared to towns and cities around Ludington, are they in similar situations? Is this something that will, put Ludington on statewide news. Hey, there's issues going on in Ludington, or is it more similar in other communities, even in Mason County or Manistee, Lake, Oceana County in the West Michigan area?
So similar communities have adapted strategies that we haven't yet. There are other communities that are in the same boat as us because they haven't thought outside the box. The communities that are struggling like us are not lakeside communities, are not tourist communities. So we do have that to our advantage. That there's a balance to the equation, right? Earlier, when we were talking about the finance director position, you mentioned bringing in like a private firm. I've asked a private firm to come in and sit down, have a conversation with me, and go through our expenses and revenues. And the insight they provided was really just phenomenal. So as we start to have those conversations internally and with city council, the greater community will start to be pulled in. And I just want, like I said, through this initial conversation, I would really just like residents and business owners to just pay attention and provide your feedback and have constructive conversations. It's none of it's going to be, I feel like I've used this word a couple times this morning, but it's going to be imperfect, right? But we all have to participate if we want to invest in Ludington and not continue this year to year to year. We're rolling back services. We're not investing in our capital. Ludington will not be what we want it to be in 10 years, in 20 years, if that's the path we continue to go down.
All right. Good information there. And it helps that you're laying the foundation now, that information, that communication that's going to take place over the next few months and throughout the year. So we'll continue to keep that conversation going and check in as you go with it. And I think it's important, from the way you are transparent on the morning show here, to that transparency within the community. That's what they're going to need to be able to support those initiatives, or to be able to say, okay, I can vote for that, or I can look at that. And so I think that's going to be important to see throughout the next few months. If you are just joining us, we're talking with Kaitlyn Aldrich, City Manager of Ludington. This morning, you've got City Council coming up tonight. And you've got the Mason County Garden Club that's got their 100th anniversary presentation. They've been around for 100 years now.
Yes.
Wow.
Incredible.
That's cool. So that's going to start the meeting tonight. Tell us a little bit about them, if you don't mind, and if people are not aware of that garden club. Would you do that for us?
The Garden Club takes care of several city parks year round, and they are looking to do a celebration of their 100th anniversary. And they want to highlight a few of the city parks that they help maintain, and that would be Rotary, Legacy, and Laveau Park. At Rotary Park, they would like to set up a table to sell tickets for their garden walk. At Legacy Park, they want to set up a table for a make and take project. And at Laveau Park, they would like to set up a table to display a photo history of the park, and provide garden information and distribute a free seed packet to the public.
Okay. All right. Good information there. You have a first presentation of parking offenses and fines. And I see that, at least on some of our notes, there's a mention of the boat ramp fees. Is that tonight as well, or no? Maybe that's not. Maybe it's
boat ramp fees. Maybe
looks like
parking at the boat ramp, but I don't think those
Yeah.
fees are changing.
Okay. Well, we have a first presentation of parking offenses and fines. Let's dive into that.
So the purpose of updating these fines are twofold. Number one, they are significantly lower compared to comparable municipalities on the west side of the state. Number two, they are so low that a lot of the feedback we get is it was easier for me to just pay the parking ticket than find other parking. So to try to reduce that type of behavior, we did have to increase the fees a little bit to try to discourage that behavior and get people parking where they're supposed to be parking. But also to align our fees to, Grand Haven, Muskegon, Manistee, just similar communities, lakeside communities on the West Coast.
Okay. All right.
But it's just fee alignment.
Okay. All right. Big jump or little jump?
I mean, all night parking is actually decreasing on city streets from $30 to $20.
Okay.
We understand how difficult residential parking is. Outside of that, handicap parking is jumping from 75 to 100. If you park in a handicap spot, you're not supposed to be. In prohibited zones, it's increasing from 30 to 40. All other prohibited parking is increasing from 30 to 50.
Okay. All right. Good information there. And again, it's the first presentation tonight, so it necessarily won't be, well, it could be voted on tonight, right?
Nope, it's a first presentation. It has to go to 2 council meetings. So the earliest it could be voted on is the 23rd of February.
All right. Good information there. You have, which is kind of interesting, that there's 2 references to volleyball on the packet tonight, because today is we were going over holidays during the morning zoo, and today is the date that volleyball was the game of volleyball was created. So you're going to be discussing this tonight in regards to a midsummer Lake Michigan beach volleyball tournament and an annual Lake Michigan beach volleyball tournament. Take us through those, if you don't mind.
There are just a few events related to volleyball tonight. I believe one is the second coming of a beach volleyball tournament. The first event was last year. It was very well attended. It was a very smooth tournament, and they're looking to come back again this year. And then I believe the other one is a new volleyball tournament. Let me look that up here. And that is a 2-day competitive beach volleyball tournament. Oh no, that's the same one that was last year. My apologies. Well, I can't seem to find it, Chris.
Oh, it's okay. But that's part of the events. One other thing, I saw this Cove releasing this was another event that you're looking at, which is Walk a Mile in Her Shoes that's coming up in April that they are putting together. And then also an approval tonight of the Ludington Area Pride Festival in July. So a lot of these events kind of now that, well, we're hopeful. Well, we got some sunshine outside right now, which is nice. But do you see that there is a increase in activities, an increase in requests, I guess it would be, for a packed spring, summer, and fall in the Ludington area?
I wouldn't necessarily say an increase. I think folks are, we do have a lot of events in the late spring, summer, and early fall. So I think we're just starting to get these requests earlier. Last year, I remember getting some of these requests later in the spring, and folks had to shift their dates that they requested because their date was already taken. So I think we're just starting to see some of these requests come in earlier because when you're organizing larger events like this, it's hard when your date or your time is already booked. So we're happy to see that it looks like Ludington will have another busy summer.
And that's good to hear. If you're just joining us, we're talking with Kaitlyn Aldrich. We're almost wrapping up here in just a moment. I don't want to miss anything that's on the agenda, but I see that there's a response to a FOIA appeal that continues to go back and forth regarding, in this particular case, Ludington Police Department report on an incident there on Lakeshore Drive. And do you mind clarifying, talking about it a little bit, trying to give us a preview of what that might look like tonight?
Sure, give me just a minute here. The FOIA was received on January 2nd, and the FOIA ultimately addressed a couple different things. Mr. Arata was appealing in what he argued to be an unlawful fee that was sent by the Ludington Police Department. And I believe there was one other argument. Sorry, our city attorney handles these appeals.
Oh, it's okay. While you're looking at that,
the city attorney ultimately recommends that we uphold the fee that was applied. He argued, our city attorney stated that a previous lawsuit by Mr. Rada that was ruled in the city's favor by Judge Fox states that the fee we applied was legal. And therefore we shouldn't change the way that we charge the fee. There is a 5-page memo in the packet from our city attorney if anyone is really excited about the legal language and would like to learn and understand that some more. The other key thing that's important to a couple of the things that we've talked about this morning is the enterprise lease agreement that the city council will be talking about tonight and on the 23rd. One of the cost savings measures that the city is looking at, we have 41 vehicles in our fleet. That includes Department of Public Works vehicles, water treatment plant, wastewater treatment plant, police vehicles, Cartier Park, the marinas. I can't think of any other departments off the top of my head, but there's 41 vehicles in our fleet. That doesn't include our heavy equipment or our snow plows. So 41 vehicles that up until this month, we've directly purchased them. The oldest vehicle in our fleet is from 1998. So that was almost 30 years old. Obviously, that vehicle is not fuel efficient. It costs a lot of money to maintain it. And we are looking at switching to the enterprise lease program. The 10-year financial outlook is that between reselling the vehicles every 5 years, fuel and maintenance savings over 10 years, it's going to save the city anywhere between $300,000 and $400,000.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is one thing that we're looking at to try to help improve our budget forecast and challenges that we're having. So that's just another agenda item that, while it may not be the most exciting to talk about, it is something that we're looking at internally to try to help with our expense and revenue issue.
Well, and I think the public will hopefully look at initiatives like that, and when they see the dollars and cents, that it's easier for them to vote on something or to consider something. So it sounds like you're being very proactive, although it is a reactive situation that you're going through too,
Yes.
with this. And the last topic to discuss this morning. that comes to mind for tonight's meeting?
Is Well, I guess there is one more thing, and that is the House of Flavors has a waste sampler that's underground, and I actually believe it's out under Ludington Avenue,
Hmm.
and they are looking to move that closer to the building under one of the parking spaces that's adjacent to their building.
Hmm.
They have their sampling that's required by our wastewater treatment plant is coming back really inconsistent. And our wastewater treatment plant operator or superintendent believes it's because the sampling device is located so far from their equipment.
Hmm.
We are looking to relocate that sampler a little bit closer to their equipment, which means it'll take up a parking space there right adjacent to their building. But we're hoping to get more consistent sampling by moving it, just to get some better readings and have some more accurate data to rely on.
When do you see that window of time happening?
Once it's approved by city council, they can relocate it as soon as their schedule allows.
Okay, and that's that could happen as early as tonight. Yeah, it's up for approval.
Yep, and the cost would be bore by House of Flavors. It's a
Mhm.
requirement that it would be a requirement of the permit they have, so the city wouldn't have to pay for that.
But the key topic or key sentence in what you mentioned early on was that this is located under Ludington Avenue. Is that correct?
Currently, yes, and it
Okay.
would be relocated to the, I can't think of the side street right there, but under the parking spaces there for House of Flavors.
All right. So my next question then, construction, Ludington Avenue. What does
Yes.
that look like?
I don't know yet. I don't know yet, to be honest. They'd have to pull an MDOT permit, because that is MDOT, or MDOT's right of way.
Hmm.
It would be a removal of equipment. The alternative is, I imagine, I'm not an engineer. I'm going to lead with that. Um, but I don't know what the harm would be in leaving the equipment down there.
Okay. But
So
I guess my question is more
I
of the construction of Ludington Avenue and how much that will impact traffic. Obviously this isn't done completely underground, or is it? What does that look like? And maybe that's a conversation for, after, because they're going to have to submit something to the city. Is that correct for you?
yeah.
I don't know if it's an approval, but to review at least.
So the communication from the wastewater treatment plant superintendent does say to move the sampler. So it could not be left under Ludington Avenue. It sounds like
Okay.
they are proposing to dig it up and relocate it.
All right. Well, once you
But
have information.
if it's in between like the right of way and Ludington Avenue, I would believe that it would be like a single lane closure.
Hmm.
But we can,
Well, and there, yeah.
I can learn some more today and have some more details about what construction would look like for the city council meeting tonight. Because
Oh,
that's
yeah,
a
that's
great
that's
question.
yeah, because people are going to wonder because before you know it, well, at least from a hedgehog or a groundhog, or 6 weeks from spring. So we'll see what happens there.
Yes.
Kaitlyn, I know we've talked about a lot today, and for those that are listening and viewing, the opportunity for you to hear about this more and see some of those decisions coming up tonight at City Council at 6 p.m. at City Hall in Ludington. And that's an opportunity for you to voice your opinion before and after. And you can always send us questions. We'll reconnect with you in a couple of weeks. And talk about that night's agenda, maybe recap a little bit of the progression of what we talked about today, as it sounds like it's going to be a long-term plan on some of these topics that you brought up today. We appreciate you taking the time. Anything left? I'll leave you with the last word.
No, I really appreciate for those who have stayed with us, if you have, for the entire hour. Thank you for your patience, especially with the connection issues. And thank you for your time, Chris, and always having this opportunity to share information with the public.
Absolutely. We'll continue to support that and be an outlet for you. Kaitlyn, thanks so much, and have a great Monday, and we'll talk with you soon.